Here comes the part where I make all the professional mechanics cringe. And we're at 210 on this cylinder here. So right here in front of me, I have the piston, the head, and the jug that came out of the HO. A lot of you have actually been wanting to see this, the difference between the HO and the non-HO. What you're looking at here is the HO jug, the non-HO jug. You're looking at HO head, non-HO head. R.N.G.performance.net for your merch, your cups, parts, and accessories. We went ahead on the turbo U-Force. This has got a 950 HO engine in it, so it's got the high output. It doesn't have the regular U-Force 1000 engine. There's differences. I have videos on that. I thought it was going to be this cylinder. Guess I'm wrong. We scoped it with the video. We're going to show you guys on this next cylinder. And we got our snap-on compression tester kit out. And we're at 210 on this cylinder here. So walls and everything in there look good. I want to show you guys the plug because it looks good. It looks on the rich side, but it looks good. Can they see that? Yeah. So I'd rather it be a little rich than a little lean. That looks pretty good, like pretty good plug. I mean, I'm not complaining there. So, well, yeah, let's come to this other cylinder. Let me get this out of here. 210, that's good. So our problem must be on this cylinder, which is going to make it nice for teardown. And there may not even be a problem with the cylinder. There could be, we could have, I don't know what we could have done. So to pull these plugs, you want a 16 millimeter plug socket. It has to be a thin wire. You ain't getting in there. Let's go ahead and pop that down in there. And these plugs are very long-winded. Long-winded. Let's see if I can get these out of here. Yeah, I guess I can't wait to see what's in this hole here. Fitting to find out. I think we found our problem cylinder. That's definitely a problem cylinder. That is wet. That is gasoline. That is not burning. Oh yeah. She deader than a doornail in there. Let's get the camera down in there. Oh gosh. She's tore up from the floor up. Look, no damage to the piston that I can see.
Damage to the walls.
Just the walls. Well, I have cylinders in there. We'll see how bad that damage is. Looks pretty bad to me, but you'll know once you pull it apart. We're going to pull it apart today. We might be able to re-ring it, so. Oh yeah, cylinder is. Can they see that good? Yeah. Can you guys see that? Okay. Now, see that cylinder wall? She is messed up, man. Wow. We're not even going to compression test this because we already know what happened. But from the camera, the piston looks like it's reusable. So I think all we did was tear up the rings. Well, I mean, which is what I guessed anyway. So, all right, well, let me get that out of here. You guys maybe seen a video I did a while back on this inspection camera. It's made by Oyekewek. I don't know, but anyway, they sponsored this tool to me, and I did a video on it. This has been, and this video is not paid for by them. The first video wasn't paid for. They just sent me a tool and asked me if I'd review it. Honest review. They didn't tell me I needed to say this or say that, but yeah, we do tool reviews. Those are one things that I accept. I accept tools to do reviews. As long as they're tools that I can use. I'm not going to go out of my way to make a video, but if it's a tool that I don't have that I can use, I'll do it. Yeah, I've had it for how long now?
Couple years.
No, not this one. I've had this one for probably almost a year. And it's been, yeah. Every time I pull it out, it turns on and it works. And the camera quality on it is top notch.
Nice.
Yeah. You can put an SD card in this thing and record it, and then I could integrate it in videos. But the problem with that is, it's a pain in the rear. It just is. So, well, I guess I should. I got to get the antifreeze draining and get that cylinder apart. All right, we need a Phillips screwdriver so we can go ahead and attack this boot for the intake. Go ahead and get that loose. We'll loosen them both. It'll make it easier to get off. Pardon if you guys can hear that fan back there. There you go. Intake boot. We went ahead. We just got to get our fuel line disconnected. Watch, Ronnie, because it might spray. Probably will spray. A little bit. She's a leaker. We went ahead and got that. I'm going to get a flathead, pull off the coolant hose. If you're wondering how I drain the coolant, down on the water pump, there's a fat hose. I just popped that loose, drained that, did that off camera because that's super easy. But I know you guys are mostly interested in how you get these top ends apart and all that stuff. So get that coolant hose off of there. Let me pop that off too, just to get it out of there. Okay. That's off. We're going to go ahead and get this valve cover off. That's an 8mm socket. Break these loose, get this off of here. So if you guys are ever wondering how to do a top end rebuild on one of these motors, this is going to be identical even to the single cylinders. 4, 5, 600, 800, 1000, 950, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. As long as it's the CFMOTO V twin, this is how you do it. It's super easy, very easy actually. So we're going to show you how to do that. So you're going to want to time your motor before you tear it apart. Time it. These lines have to go the same direction as this head, be flush with this head. So if you were looking at it like this, the lines match up. Now, to help you see those lines better, put a little paint on them. Okay? Paint markers are going to help you. Now, one thing I'm going to do is mark this chain, okay, in 2 different spots, because this will help you get it back in time. Okay? That way you can put it back the exact way that you took it apart. It's the best thing you can do. Take your spark plugs out, turn it with your clutch. I didn't do that. I turned it with this nut. You shouldn't do that, but spark plugs are out, turn pretty easy. So, do that for sure, and that'll help you. Next thing, we're gonna pull out this tensioner, okay? The chain tensioner. To do that, we're gonna want an 8mm socket. Loosen these up. And just give it a wiggle. Now you're probably gonna tear this just like I did. This is reusable as long as it's not torn in half. Put a little bit of RTV gray, ultra gray, Permatex silicone on there, and it'll be just fine, okay? But we did tear it a little. Replace it, but I'm gonna use silicone because these tend to leak anyway. Now your chain should be nice and loose. Now, what you're gonna wanna do Pull that loose. When I go back together with it though, I'll use my hand. Now, get yourself some speaker wire, okay? Keep tension on this. Keep tension on this chain at all times. Because if you don't, it's gonna come off the crank and you're gonna be in trouble. Don't worry about that. I got extras. Take this speaker wire, tie it. Tie it real good. And you just want to keep tension on it. Easiest way to get this intake off is to take out these bolts. But we're going to take off the thermostat housing. Okay, pop off that thermostat housing. Now we just gotta get under here and do these. Once we do that, we're almost there. So now we have to pull off the oil cooler. There's going to be a bolt here. Leave this alone. Going to be a bolt here and a bolt right here. We're going to take those off. Here comes the part where I make all the professional mechanics cringe. Are you ready for this, Ronnie? Oh no, did I just do that? It's okay to take them off with the impact, and it's okay to put them on with the impact. Just stop them when they stop and then torque them down. I'll give you guys the torque specs and all that. Once you're done getting these 4 bolts out, there's 2 8mm right here. You got to pull those out or this head ain't going nowhere. Don't drop these down in the motor either, because it's very easy to do so. Watch, I say that, now I'm going to do it. They're going to be long just like that. Cover it in oil because they're down in the valley. Now wiggle out your intake. That thing's full of gas. It's flooded. Now these 2 head bolts are going to be a royal pain in your neck. Come on, baby. It's that exhaust pipe that's screwing with us. come on. Hopefully I can get that out of there. It's these bolts that are gonna... It's the bolts that are ultimately... There we go. Alright, now. Well, Red, you got that timing chain all tied up. Well, that's easy. That's the easiest part. Okay? Keep your tension on it. Alright. Keep your tension on it. Bring this up. Okay? Set that down. Keep your tension. Let's inspect the head here. It looks good. There is metal from the rings on there and the cylinder walls. That's okay. We can clean that right up real nice. The head gasket looks pretty good. We'll get it off and get a better look at it. But so far the head gasket looks pretty good. Let's go put this over here on rag. Okay, now we got to get the jug out of here, which is going to be the same way as the head we pulled out. So let's go ahead and get that jug out of there. Keep tension on that. And this jug, bring that up, not worried about that at this time. This jug is going to wiggle right up out, okay? Right up out. Don't panic. It's organic. I got this string. I should just cut that. It's ridiculously too long. Oh, Ronnie, we need a piston. We sent the piston to the moon. I'm gonna try and get that C-clip out of there. Wow. Yeah. So right here in front of me, I have the piston, the head, and the jug that came out of the HO. A lot of you have actually been wanting to see this, the difference between the HO and the non-HO. We're going to show you that. But first, I want to show you the damage that it did. This is the HO piston out of the turbo. And it melted the piston and then shoved the rings down into the block. Now, I was able to dig out all the pieces of the rings out of the block. Everything was laying right down in there. Let me see. Show you here. Right here's a piece. But it was just laying just right down in there. I seen it, grabbed it with a magnet, pulled it out. So, what you're looking at here is the HO jug, the non-HO jug. These are exactly the same. You're looking at HO head, non-HO head. The difference between the heads, you could bolt one head onto another machine, it looks like. The difference is cam profile, bigger valves in the HO, smaller valves in the non-HO. The piston difference, and you could probably put this piston, the wrist pins are the same, so you could probably put this piston and this head in a HO motor and turn it back into a non-HO. Essentially, the piston is cut out more for the bigger valves so they don't hit. Obviously, you need more room, etc., etc. Nonetheless, the heads are practically identical. The other difference is spark plugs. Spark plugs are different. What?
I was gonna say spark plug.
Yeah, spark plugs are different, but your coils and everything are going to be the same. So the exhaust is also a little tiny tad bigger on the HO, but the non-HO exhaust bolts right in. We did it. Works just fine. So that's the differences for you guys to know and see. I don't know if the rods are different. This is a non-HO rod. I'd have to look that up. I bet that they are. I bet the HO rods are stronger. This motor took a ton of boost. We made this motor fail on purpose so we could see what would fail. Now looking at this, I thought it was going to be, at first I thought rings had definitely, and I was right, but I was also in the back of my head thinking, it took out more than that. So I'm thinking, you know what? If we're going to run boost, we're going to need, forged pistons, a lower compression. You know what? I'm not thinking that now that I got this apart. What I'm thinking, we don't run 15 PSI.
Right.
Because it ran fine on 12. I think 12's on the line. 12 might have started this and then 15 finished it off. So we're going to go back together. The head gasket, if I really was in a pinch, I could reuse that thing. We're not going to. Chill out, keyboard warriors. But if I was in a pinch, I could reuse that head gasket. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not deformed, nothing. So it held the boost just fine. We put quite a bit of miles on that thing with 12 pounds. We put 2 seconds on it with 15 and finished her off. So my conclusion is we're going to put a new gasket in it. The head's fine. We're going to clean all the metal shavings off from the piston and the walls. We'll show you the walls in a minute. We're going to run 8 or 10 PSI permanently.
Right.
Because I think it'll be safe there. We can dial it in and get pretty good power there. And I think we won't have any problems. What do you think? After looking at this.
After looking at this, I think 10 pounds is...
10 pounds, yeah. And we can tell that it wasn't running. Yeah, it was running lean at 15 for sure. 15 is definitely what did this. It was super lean. We knew that. But we put her on the dyno to pop her and find out what was what. Onto the jug here. You could probably, if you were really in a pinch, hone that. These are nickel sealed, so you're not really supposed to hone them, but you could hone that. And probably, if you didn't have a choice, run it. It's in rough shape, yes, but you could hone that clean, especially with a new set of rings. You'd have room to do that. So you could hone that nice and clean enough to run it. It might burn a little oil, but if you were in a pinch, we are not in a pinch. We are not running this. I am going to save it. That way we can punch it out later at a later date. But if you look, there's not much wall thickness there. This, it looks even thinner yet, but it could just be my eyes. Anyway, we're going to get parts on the way, and we're going to start putting this back together. How's that? We're going to hear it, Ron.